My name is Terry, and in today's video, we'll be solving multi-step linear equations. So the first equation we're going to look at here is negative 8y minus 7 equals 9. And our goal for this equation is we want to get y by itself on one side and everything else on the other side of the equal sign. So if we'll look at that, we have that negative 8y minus 7 on the left-hand side, and we want to move both of those numbers. But to begin with, we'll always start with the number that's by itself. So here, our number by ourself is negative 7. So if you remember from previous videos, to move a number across an equal sign, we have to do the opposite. So here we have a negative 7. So the opposite of a negative 7 would be a plus 7. And so what we do to one side of the equal sign, we must do to the other side of the equal sign. So we will add 7 to both sides. And when we do that, that actually helps cancel out our 7s because a negative 7 plus 7 just makes 0. And so we are left with negative 8y equals 16. So now we look at this and we say we still have a negative 8 in front of our y. Well, if you remember, if we have a number that is right next to a variable, which is a letter, if they are side by side, that is multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So we are actually going to divide by a negative 8. And when we do division, we must divide with that negative as well. Do not lose that negative as you come across. And so we'll divide the other side by the negative 8 as well. And the reason why is now that we divide a negative 8 by a negative 8, we can cancel those out because a negative divided by negative makes a positive. So this would actually make a positive 1, or what we would say 1y, or we just rewrite it just as y. So y equals 16 divided by negative 8 would make negative 2. So our answer is negative 2. Okay, so let's look at another one here. Let's do negative 15a plus 2 equals negative 43. All right, so when we're looking at this, it's the same thing we were doing a while ago. We want to move everything on the left side to the right side except for the a. So always start with the number that's by itself. So here we have a plus 2. So we do the opposite. The opposite of a plus is a minus. So we're going to say minus 2. What we do to one side, we must do to that other side. And so we will subtract 2 from both sides. And then the 2's will cancel out because we have a plus 2 and a minus 2. That makes 0. So now we have negative 15a is what is left on that side. And then a negative 43 plus a negative 2 would make a negative 45. Okay, so now we've got our negative 15a. We know that when a number and a variable are side by side, that is multiplication. And we know that the opposite of multiplication is division. So we will divide both sides by that negative 15. Again, do not forget to take that negative sign with you. So here we can cancel out those negative 15s because they divide to make a positive 1. So we'll just be left with a equals, and negative 45 divided by negative 15 makes a positive 3. Okay, so let's look at a couple more here. All right, this time we're going to look at one, and we've got 4x plus 10x minus 8x equals 18. All right, so on this one, he looks a little bit different than what we've been looking at because we got a bunch of x's on one side. So just like we've learned in previous videos, if you have letters that are the same, and we call those like terms, we're going to combine them. So here we have a 4x, a 10x, and a negative 8x. So we are going to combine those, actually all three of those together. So if we added 4 plus 10, that would give us a 14 minus 8, right? And if we do 14 minus 8, that is going to give us a 6. So we're going to say 6x, when we combine those together, equals 18. We just simplified. Now we've got 6x. We want just an x though. So here we have a multiplication problem because a number in front of a variable is just multiplication. So the opposite would be division. So we're going to divide both sides by that 6. And when we do that, that cancels out those 6's because a 6 divided by 6 is just 1 and leaves us with x equals, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. All right, we're going to look at one more here. This time we have 13x minus 45 equals negative 2x plus 45. Okay, so we got a little bit bigger numbers. We got things on both sides of our equation. So we're like, where do we start? Well, our goal is to get our x on that left-hand side all by itself. So I'm actually going to do a little something different here. I'm going to put kind of like a little line that goes down between our equal sign. So we can see where that equal sign is and when we're crossing over it. Okay, so we want to get x by itself on the left-hand side. So remember, we always start with moving our number. So here we have a negative 45. So we're going to move this negative. The opposite would be a positive 45. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. But we have to combine it with a like term over there. So we're going to put it under the other 45 that's already there because they both are just numbers. They do not have a variable behind them. So when we do that, that will help us to cancel out that negative 45 and that positive 45 because they make a 0. And then we're left with 13x equals negative 2x plus, and 45 plus 45 is 90. Okay, but we're not done moving things around yet. We still have a negative 2x over on the right-hand side. So how can we move it to the other side? Well, I want to move that whole thing because it has the x with it. So we have a minus, so we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to add that 2x. And when we do that, we have to do it to both sides. So we'll add it to the other side. As we do this, that negative 2x and that positive 2x will cancel. And we're going to be left with 13x plus 2x would be 15x equals, and on this side, we just have 90. Now we just have an x on one side and a number on the other. So we are exactly where we want to be. So we have 15x. We know that is a multiplication problem because they're side by side. So to do the opposite would be division. So we're going to divide. And what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So we divide both sides by that 15. And that gives us x equals 6. So here is our answer, x equals 6.